What's up, guys? Welcome back to ChumChat, another episode. We have a special guest on, as you can see in the bottom right. This is a guy I've known my whole life. His dad is mighty famous, and he's following in those footsteps. He's a Clemson wideout as well as a holder. He was going to be my holder, but things didn't work out, so I'm gutted about that. But I was really looking forward to be teammates with this guy. He's a great guy, and no matter what, you always see him out there working hard, grinding, smiling, and dancing. That's Will Swinney. So give it up for Will Swinney.
Welcome to ChumChat, Will.
Appreciate it, thank you all. Excited to be here today.
Good.
So,
yes, sir.
Is that Judson there in the Clemson? I like it.
You already know.
Well, actually, nice to meet you, Will. My name is Johan.
What's going on?
Nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you. Tanner's talked a lot about you. So,
Nice. Good to meet you, too.
Yeah. Sorry. So, how have you been during, this self-isolation period? And you went on vacation for a couple of weeks, right? So, how was that? And what did you all do?
Yeah, well, we had left kind of right before everything got bad because that was when our spring break was coming. And we just left thinking we were on spring break. The next thing you know, when we came back, school was canceled for the rest of the semester, all that. So it's kind of been an adjustment period, getting used to the e-learning, online classes and all that. But it's been fine. We've just been playing games around the house, watching different movies we've never seen, and still getting our workouts in kind of outside wherever we can. So it's been a fine process so far.
Yeah, that grind's important.
Oh, yeah.
You have a nice setup in the house with the gym inside and things like that. So very lucky. But so you're obviously a family type of man, and you have a strong faith. Could you kind of run us through what it means to you, your family and your faith?
Yeah. Well, I would say that's probably the two biggest things is faith and family. I was privileged enough to grow up in a household where they taught me a lot about God and having a relationship with Jesus. But that was a decision I had to make for myself when I became about 8 years old. And, I've been plugged in with a good church ever since then. And that just helped me to grow. And that's definitely the most important thing about me. And I kind of try to let that guide everything else I do in my life, just trying to please God and honor him. And then family, I just love being around my family, love spending time with them and friends, and for that matter. And those are definitely the two most important things. And I think that's what matters most in life. And, that's one good thing that's come out of all this isolation stuff is that you can spend time with people that you love, but also reflect and just pray to God that he'll help everybody get through this.
Yeah. So obviously you're raised by Dabo. You've got his name William. His real name's William. What's it been like being raised by him? Obviously he's been busy a lot of times. I know I've been around the house when he's not there a lot. And what's it been like being raised by him? Also as a coach as well. What's that been like?
Yeah, well, it's been great. Both him and my mom, they've been awesome parents. And about my dad, it's been cool for me because I've kind of seen him transition. I remember when he was just a real estate salesman in Alabama. That's what he was. And then I remember he came to Clemson as an assistant coach. So kind of up to about fifth grade, he was kind of just like any other dad. He wasn't really famous or anything. It was whatever. And then when he became the head coach, it was kind of like, oh, this is weird. You're seeing your dad on posters everywhere, going on the road, just driving. You're seeing people come to school with Yabba Dabba Doo shirts, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it was kind of weird at first. But it's just something that the biggest thing for him is that he's always stayed the same. And it doesn't matter where he's been in life, he's always had his priorities, and obviously faith and family are his top priorities also. And he's always just raised us to be hardworking, humble young men. And that's something that we've kind of just followed in his footsteps from there, Drew, Clay, and I. And, so it's been cool to see him have the success that he's had. But as a dad, I think he's had even more success in just raising three good sons.
Yeah, it's very well said.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Very well put. My dad wasn't the coach of the Clemson Tigers, but he did coach, some of my teams. And I know for me, at least, the coaching didn't stop on the field. It carried on at home too. And it wasn't just, sports and stuff like that. It was also coaching on life and stuff like that. So I'm sure you appreciate that.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And speaking of, coaching and scoring and stuff like that, you scored your first touchdown against Louisville in that 77-10 win, was it?
77-16, yeah, I think.
Or 77-16, yeah. And so, just what did that mean for you, and what did it mean to your dad, to kind of share that moment with him?
Golly, it was amazing because, you just grow up I've been there since I was 5 years old, been at every Clemson home game at least since 2003. And that's just something I always thought about was, man, just first off, just running down the hill and playing as a Tiger, but then to just be able to one day maybe just get a catch or score a touchdown. And that was definitely a dream for me. And it's kind of just something that I just always worked hard to do. And it wasn't like something that it was just like the end result, but I think it was just kind of a product of hard work and just having fun in the moment. I've just had fun with the whole journey up to that point, and then just being able to play. And then it was my sophomore year, finally getting in the end zone, scoring a touchdown. I mean, it was just an amazing moment. And I just would kind of probably in that moment when I got up and saw I'd scored, I was like, probably the best feeling I could say was just being overwhelmed with gratefulness to just know that, whenever you work really hard, it's going to pay off in some way or another. And I think that was definitely God rewarding my hard work in that moment. And I was just very appreciative. My teammates were very excited. It made my dad very happy just to see me achieve one of my dreams. And hopefully I'll be able to get another one this year.
For sure.
Yeah.
So kind of staying alongside the same topic. So we met by playing on the same team. So for us, it was always like a culture, kind of like a band of brothers.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's like the same in Clemson. So what is like being a Clemson Tiger mean to you and like your dad? Like, what's that culture like?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a great culture. I think that's what separates us from the rest. There's Clemson. That wasn't a traditional powerhouse or anything by any means, but that was the biggest thing my dad had to do when he got the job was create a culture of belief and that putting the team before yourself and all those things. But it's just about how you think. There's so much power in in positive thinking and believing that you can. And then once we got everybody bought in and we're able to get in some higher recruits, we were really able to take off as a program. So, but the culture, I think one of the best things about Clemson is that everybody appreciates each other's role. The same, and one example of that is I remember in 2012, Sammy Watkins, he had gotten arrested for drugs or whatever. And he was our star player the year before. So everybody was saying, oh, just suspend him the easy game, which was going to be the second game versus like Furman. And my dad said, no, like if any other player would have done this, they'd be suspended this first game versus Auburn also. So he suspended them for both games. And we actually still went on to go win. But I think the lesson in all that was that, hey, if he'll suspend Sammy Watkins for doing wrong, he'll definitely get mad at a lesser player for that matter. So I just think everybody is held to the same standard, and everyone really appreciates each other's roles, even the scout team guys, because we all know we're all in it and all have a role in it together.
For sure.
Brilliant.
I recently I was doing a bit of research and I saw that you kind of broke a family record for most receiving yards. So how does it feel being the best receiver in the Swinney family?
Oh man, yeah, that was funny. I think it was like I didn't really know it. I think we were playing NC State this year, and they had like said on game day that morning. Everybody started texting me like Reese Davis had said I was 6 yards away from having more than my dad did his senior year or whatever. And that night I had like 2 catches for like 15 yards or something, so I was able to pass it that night. But that was funny. And I remember it was one of the funny moments from that was one of my dad's former coaches, Coach McCorvey, who's like one of his probably his right hand man now. He was his receiver coach at Alabama, and he came up to me after one of those catches and was like, hey, your daddy can't tell you nothing now. that was kind of a funny moment, but it's all fun and games. And I've definitely been in a good offense to be able to get some touches and yards.
Yeah, I know that you and your family are definitely a very competitive family. So I know that had to hurt Uncle Bo on that one, but I know that he's proud of you and stuff like that. But
yeah,
playing for the Tigers growing up, following them, seeing the whole transition from when they weren't a powerhouse to now they are a powerhouse. Has there been an extra pressure for you to play under your dad with the Swinney name on the back of your jersey? Is there an extra pressure to that, or is it just comfortable still?
No, there definitely is an extra pressure, but it's something I've learned to deal with. And I mean, it kind of goes back to even just being in middle school and high school, just growing up. Even whatever I do, I know most people in the area, they're gonna know who I am as far as walking into a room. So I'm like, it's that much more important for me to make a good first impression. Because, a lot of times people could just look at maybe a son of a celebrity or someone who might be well known, and they might just go ahead and perceive them to be a certain way without even knowing who they are. So that's why, for me, I was just always very extra sure to be humble and kind to people. And but then as far as the athletics, oh, sorry. Can you see me still? Yeah. So as far as the athletic side of it goes, I also knew, like, in high school, every single team that played us, they were like, all right, Coach Swinney's going to be at the game. I got to show out. I got to ball out, do something on the sun. Like, I knew we were going to get everybody's best shot. But, I welcome that because, that means, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And I just, at the end of the day, when I got to Clemson, I said, look, there's going to be certain things that I just can't control. It's going to be – everything's going to be – for me, it's going to be dramatized one way or another. So if I were to do something bad, there's going to be way more criticism than there normally would be. But if I do something good, there'll be way more praise than there normally be. So I was like, I just got to find a way to just keep it kind of equilibrium, be steady, and then just not worry about all the outside noise. Because at the end of the day, I'm just trying to kind of play for my teammates, play for the people in the locker room, the coaches. That's who I really play for, and my God. And I'm not worried about pleasing all these people on the outside. So when you kind of just remove that pressure of all the exterior and all that, it's a lot better that way.
Yeah, true that.
Yeah, I feel that. Tanner always talks about actually how your dad is like super well spoken. And so I don't know, like you as his son, is there anything, like any quote specifically that sticks out to you that he'd always like tell you, or a favorite quote of his that you have?
Yeah, I could probably think of several. What's really amazing about him is ever since I've even come to be on the team, in his team meetings, I'm like, he'll say things and I'm like, dang, I hadn't even heard that growing up. But it'll be like, he says the best thing he does is getting us to think the right way going into a game. Every game we go into, we believe we're about to beat the team by 50 points. And whatever you think that way, that's how you start to act. And actually, along those quotes, he quotes Gandhi. He says, your thoughts turn into your words turn into your actions turn into your habits turn into your beliefs, and your beliefs turn into your destiny. So everything like starts with how you think. Your destiny is going to be started with how you think. Another thing he says, a couple more, is he says, don't give up what you want most or what you want at a moment. So everybody kind of has that thing they want most in life, but a lot of times people aren't successful because they're just something they want in the moment that really doesn't matter, and they choose that and give up everything they've really been working for. And so that's a good one. One other good quote he has, he says, this is good for us this time because it's easy now, not being on a structure or schedule. Nobody's making me get up to work out or anything. And he's been saying this to our team during this time. He's saying, you can play now, but you'll pay later. But if you pay now, then you'll play later. So he has tons of them, bro. He could write a book on all the quotes he has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on the soccer team at Clemson, and
yeah.
Noonan actually asked him to come speak to us for like 15 minutes before we went into our run in the tournament. And Noonan was like, yeah, he's going to come in for about 15 minutes and then he stayed for a whole hour.
Yeah, I want to go be 15 minutes.
He stayed for a whole hour, gave us a whole presentation, and we were just sitting there like, oh my gosh, like, God, we're going to go and we're going to make a title run. And we actually went really far. So, we really appreciate that from him. It was a good meeting.
Oh, I totally believe that. That is too funny.
Yeah. And, kind of we've touched on football and stuff like that and your dad and Clemson and all that. But, I heard you're a chocolate lover. I heard you're a chocoholic. So, I heard that you went on a trip to the Hershey Chocolate Factory in Pennsylvania.
I did.
How was that? How was that trip?
Yeah, so it's kind of like the thing that our parents did whenever we were 10. They said, all right, so you can kind of pick somewhere you want to go. And I grew up being a chocoholic. And I was like, I want to go to Hershey, Pennsylvania. So we went there for the summer of my 10th birthday. And we went and stayed at the Hershey Chocolate Lodge. But it was just so crazy coming in there because it was like, oh, my gosh, these streets are really brown. And I almost want to – at first I was like, Mom, is these streets really chocolate? But no, they make it look like that. Mm-hmm. And they got a cool amusement park up there called Hershey Park. They got some great – that's where I went my first roller coaster. But, no, chocolate is – my mom, if you know my mom, she makes the craziest desserts. And actually, that I heard something about this special Testman recipe where you just kind of take that cookie dough for about 30 seconds and put it in the microwave. And I might do that tonight. Get your dad to help me with that one.
Yes, you should definitely try that one. I heard that y'all were trying it this week. I definitely recommend it. It's the best dessert out there. I can't really say anything else.
Is that just vanilla ice? Do you put hot fudge on it too, or what?
You can put hot fudge on it. I've done it once. I'm not a huge fudge guy, but I think just a simple cookie dough vanilla ice cream is you can't beat it, you know. But there's definitely you can add other ice creams. You can even do other cookie doughs if you want to stay healthy. You can do oatmeal raisin cookie dough. I mean, you can do all types of cookie dough, chocolate chip cookie dough. I mean, there's any. They have all of these different types of ones, but just I like a simple, nice cookie dough vanilla ice cream. So
I'm gonna have to try that tonight.
That's what we like to hear.
I'll have to try.
So we'll changing the subject a little bit. So what are your plans after Clemson? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah, so it's not something I'm completely sure on yet. Thankfully, I'm not graduating in December. I'll have another spring next spring, so I'll graduate a year from now. So I got a little time to kind of figure it out. My major's marketing, so I did that because it gives me broad options. I can pretty much do whatever. I've definitely thought about coaching, but it's not something I'm dead set on either. And I'm just going to kind of just take it one day at a time and hopefully figure out something to start out in after this year goes by.
That's good. That's big time.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so basically we're gonna. I know that you were a walk-on, Will, and then you earned a scholarship through other players leaving and things like that. So you've been successful in life, and so is your family's very successful, I think, in different things. But for you personally, what is your definition of success? Maybe money, happiness, different things. What is your definition of being successful?
I think I'd have to say the definition of success in life is having joy and peace in who you are and living a life that helps others. Because at the end of the day, I mean, there's other things that you're going to want to judge certain success by. But I think a lot of those things are just a byproduct of being happy with who you are and living how you're supposed to live. So, I mean, I'm not one to say, you know, you got to make this certain amount of money or you got to necessarily get this certain job. I think those are just kind of worldly things that, you know, yeah, it's good to work hard to get those type of things. But at the end of the day, if you're not happy, there's a lot of people that are, you know, that top of the world, but they're miserable. And I don't think that's successful. So I think just once you have that relationship with God, you can really know what success is like.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
So, you know, to wrap it up, I heard you like presidents.
Oh, yeah.
And know a lot about presidents. So usually with our guests, we'll do a little rapid fire at the end. So we actually formulated a special presidential rapid fire for you.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you a series of questions and just answer them. And then we'll see if you're right or not.
Okay.
Who was the 29th president of the United States?
Warren Harding served from 1921 to 1923 and had the biggest foot size 14.
Yo, what?
And died
what years were John Tyler president?
Oh, that's a good one. All right, let me think. So, William Henry Harrison. All right, I think John Tyler. Hold on. Sorry. I think John Tyler took over in 1841. So he either served till 1845 or 1849.
Yeah, that he took over in 1841 and served until 1845. Oh my, that's insane. How much did William Howard Taft weigh?
350 pounds, and he also started the seventh inning stretch in baseball. He went to a baseball game and just stood up the stretch in the seventh inning, and the whole rest of the stadium started doing it because he was the president, and that's how it got to be known the seventh inning stretch.
Wow, did not know that. How tall was Gerald Ford?
Gerald Ford. All right, I'm going to guess about 6'2", because or maybe 6'1", but he was a linebacker at Michigan and had offers to go to the NFL by the Packers and Lions, but he turned them down to go to law school.
You're close. He was 6 foot. Even
6 foot. That was very close.
6 foot. Very close. Impressive. Who was the 17th president?
Andrew Johnson. He was Lincoln's vice president and took over for him once he was shot.
Yeah, I thought I'd trick you up on that one, but I guess not. Who was the 14th president?
Franklin Pierce.
How tall was he?
Ooh. Yeah, this is one question I have never been asked. Trade computers. What was he? 5'11" maybe?
What'd you say?
Yeah.
5'11".
5'10". Oh my gosh! How?
Close.
As long as I'm within the answer of most of these, I'm happy.
Who was the shortest president?
James Madison, 5'4", 100 pounds. He was the 4th president.
Yeah, and he also founded James Madison University.
Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, and then last one. What was your favorite president? Like most interesting guy? Kind of crazy fact about him. Just go ahead and say.
Well, I do got a disclaimer. I love Abe Lincoln and George Washington. Those are two classics. But I really like about 1906 or whatever. There are so many deaths from football because it was much different. There was no line of scrimmage or anything, and it was basically just piles of people ramming their heads in there, and it was getting very dangerous. So, but people were just trying to outlaw it and ban it completely. But he just helped take steps to suggesting modification to the game, like having a line of scrimmage and things of that nature. So he's kind of credited with help saving the game. So I gotta like him for that.
Wow, that's insane. Why do you know so much about presidents?
I know, it's crazy. So in 2nd grade, my grandfather, he just got me interested in the presidents for some reason. And whenever I had free time in my class, there's this book that said, "So you think you want to be the president?" And it just has crazy facts and had them all in order. And I would just read it whenever I had free time. And it basically just stuck in my head without me trying. And so I've kind of just, ever since 2nd grade, I've known all this, been able to say them all, backwards, forwards, whatever. It's kind of funny because now whenever I get hit hard in football or something, I'll just be like, all right, 28th president, Woodrow Wilson. I can remember the presidents, make sure, and that's bad.
Yeah, I was trying to tell him. I was trying to tell Johan and Joe.
That's crazy.
I'm telling you this. I was trying to tell him this man knows his presidents. Y'all are gonna be shocked, and they're like, "Well, I guess it's cool, but I think you just stunned everyone knowing all these crazy facts about the president. It's really impressive.
Good questions too. I like those questions. I'm gonna have to go study up on the heights of all the other ones.
Yeah.
Actually, that's basically all we have for today. But I personally noticed on your Instagram, I'm the biggest Drake fan. What was that like meeting Drake?
Yeah, dude, that was crazy. So it was so we went to the Raptors game in the playoffs last year, and we were my dad knew the whole time we were gonna go meet him, but he was kind of keeping it a surprise. And Drew and I were wondering, we were like, "Bro, is Drake gonna be here?" They're like, "Oh, we don't know." And then when we saw him walked in, we're like, "Oh, this is crazy. He's right there. He's a few rows in front of us. He was up on the court, obviously." And then at halftime, we just went to go get something down in some lounge or whatever. And then we're waiting there, and we're like, "Wait, what's going on?" He's like, "Drake's about to come." It's a super cool thing because he had picked the Alabama the year before we beat him. So my dad talked to him about that. He gave him a Clemson $2 bill, which he liked a lot. But he was a super cool guy. And both Drew and I got some selfies with him or whatever. I should have asked him what his favorite song was, but it was a quick little encounter. But it was super cool to meet him, and he was cool.
That's
unreal.
That's
unreal.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so jealous. But yeah, I guess that's all we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Go make sure to show love to Will. We'll pop up his Instagram right there. I think it's at Will Swinney, right? Just one.
Yeah.
And just make sure to like and subscribe to this video. Go show love to us at chum.chat. And go listen to us on Apple Podcasts and leave a 5-star review. And as we always say, go find your own success and use this time to be productive, as Will has shown us. So yeah, go show love. Deuces.